coming to family brunch. To Jason. Dad raised his orange juice glass, beaming with pride. Assistant manager at Target. That's real leadership, son. Real responsibility. The entire table erupted in applause. My brother Jason, 27, grinned and did a mock bow from his seat. Aunt Linda actually had tears in her eyes. I'm so proud, Mom gushed, reaching over to squeeze Jason's hand. A management position with benefits, 401k matching, paid vacation. That's security. That's success. I sat at the corner of the table, invisible as always, scrolling through the final merger documents on my phone. The legal team had sent them at 6 a.m. with a note. Final signatures needed by noon. Congratulations, Zoe. You've built something incredible. Zoe, put that phone away, Dad snapped. Your brother's having a moment. Show some respect. I pocketed the phone. Congratulations, Jason. Thanks, he said, though his eyes were already back on our parents, soaking up their praise. It was a tough interview process. 3 rounds. But I really sold them on my leadership vision. 3 rounds. Grandma Betty clutched her pearls. That's rigorous. Zoe, when was the last time you had a job interview? About 8 years ago, I said truthfully. Uncle Mike snorted. Figures. Still doing that internet thing. Something like that. Zoe runs a blog or something, Jason explained dismissively to his girlfriend Amber, who joined us for the first time. She posts stuff online. Makes a little money from ads, I think. Not a blog. Nexacloud. A cybersecurity and cloud infrastructure company I'd founded at 23. We protected data for over 2,000 companies globally, had offices in 12 countries and employed 847 people. But you're a blog. Oh, like an influencer? Amber perked up. That's fun. How many followers do you have? It's not social media, I said carefully. It's enterprise cybersecurity. See, this is what I don't understand, Mom cut in, setting down her menu. What does that even mean? Enterprise cybersecurity. It sounds made up, Zoe. It means I help companies protect their digital infrastructure from. But is it a real job? Dad interrupted. Do you have a boss? An office? A title? I'm the CEO. So technically I'm everyone else's boss. Jason laughed. CEO of your own internet startup. That's cute, so. But Mom's right. You need stability. I could talk to my store manager. We're hiring in the electronics department. It's retail, but it's steady. $15 an hour to start. $15 an hour. Last quarter, Nexacloud's revenue hit $340 million. My personal compensation was significantly higher than $15 an hour. I'm fine with what I'm doing, I said evenly. Aunt Linda leaned forward with that pitying expression I'd grown to hate. Honey, we're just worried. You're 31 now. Jason's building a real career. When are you going to stop playing around on the internet and get serious about your future? Your aunt has a point, Dad added. You can't live on your laptop forever. What happens when this internet fad dies out? What's your backup plan? The internet fad. In 2024. My phone vibrated in my pocket. Probably the legal team wondering about those signatures. The merger with CyberGuard, Google's primary cybersecurity partner, was the biggest deal in the industry this year. $1.2 billion in stock and cash. The announcement was scheduled for 11 a.m., in exactly 47 minutes. I have investments, I said simply. Investments, Jason repeated, smirking. Let me guess, Bitcoin? Zoe, those crypto things are scams. You should talk to my financial advisor. He could help you understand real wealth building. Your financial advisor. Jason had gotten his first 401k 3 weeks ago, and suddenly he was Warren Buffett. Mom reached across the table and patted my hand. Sweetheart, I think what everyone's trying to say is that we want you to have what Jason has. Stability. Respect. A career you can be proud of. I am proud of my career. But what do you even do all day? Grandma Betty asked. Jason manages people, handles inventory, deals with customers. Real tangible work. You just type on a computer. Just type on a computer. Last month, I'd presented at the Global Cybersecurity Summit in Geneva. The month before, I testified before Congress about data protection legislation. 2 weeks ago, Forbes had named me one of the top 50 most influential women in tech. But sure, I just typed on a computer. Honestly, Zoe, I worry about you. Mom continued. You live in that tiny apartment, drive that old Honda, wear the same clothes all the time. Meanwhile, Jason just put a down payment on a condo. The tiny apartment was a converted loft in the historic district that I'd purchased outright for $890,000. The old Honda was a 2019 model I'd bought with cash because I didn't care about flashy cars. And I wore the same rotation of simple, high-quality clothes because I had better things to think about than fashion. But I'd learned years ago that explaining this to my family was pointless. They saw what they wanted to see. Speaking of money, Jason said, exchanging a glance with Amber. Zoe, I wanted to ask you something. Amber and I are planning a trip to Cancun next month. We're a little short on the spending money portion. Could you loan us like $3,000? I know you probably have some savings from your internet thing. $3,000. I donated $100,000 to a Women in Tech scholarship fund last week without blinking. Things are a bit tied up right now, I said. Jason's face fell. Come on, Zoe. I'd do it for you. This is family. When have you ever done anything for me? I asked quietly. The table went silent. Dad's face reddened. That's uncalled for. Your brother is asking for help and you're being selfish. This is exactly your problem, Zoe. You're so focused on your little internet world that you've forgotten what matters. Family. Family, I repeated. The same family that spent 8 years calling my career a hobby? Because you've never proven it's anything more. Mom's voice rose. You've never shown us anything. No promotions, no raises, no advancement. Jason brings home pay stubs, performance reviews, promotion letters. What do you have? Vague talk about cybersecurity and enterprise solutions. It's all smoke and mirrors. My phone buzzed again. Then again. I pulled it out and glanced at the screen. My CTO. Legal needs those signatures ASAP. Stock market opens in 30 minutes and we need to file with SEC. My CFO. Media's already gathering outside headquarters. This is going to be huge. My head of PR. Bloomberg wants an exclusive interview at noon. CNBC at 2. Can you make it back to the office? See. Dad pointed at my phone. Always on that thing. Always distracted. This is what we mean, Zoe. You're addicted to the internet. It's not healthy. It's work, I said. It's not work, Jason insisted. Work is what I do. Managing a team, handling real-world problems, dealing with actual customers face-to-face. That's work. What you do is just clicking buttons. Clicking buttons. Those buttons had built a company valued at over $2 billion. Those clicks had created 847 jobs. Those keystrokes had protected the personal data of millions of people worldwide. I need to ask you something serious, Zoe, Mom said, her voice dropping to that concerned mother tone that always preceded unwanted advice. Have you considered that maybe this internet job isn't working out? Maybe it's time to admit that and move on? There's no shame in it. Move on to what? Something stable. Jason's store is hiring. Or you could go back to school, get a teaching certificate. Teachers have good benefits. I have a master's degree in computer science from MIT. Which you're wasting, Dad said flatly. You could be teaching, helping young people, making a real difference. Instead, you're chasing this fantasy of being some kind of tech entrepreneur. Aunt Linda nodded sympathetically. Your father's right, honey. The tech bubble is going to burst. It always does. You need something sustainable. My phone was vibrating continuously now. I looked down at the screen and my heart jumped. CNBC breaking news alert. Nexacloud acquires CyberGuard for $1.2 billion. Major consolidation in cybersecurity sector. No. The announcement wasn't supposed to go live until 11 a.m. It was only 10:13. Someone had jumped the gun, probably trying to scoop the competition. What's wrong? Jason asked. You look sick. Before I could answer, Uncle Mike's phone chimed. Then Dad's. Then Grandma Betty's. Aunt Linda frowned at her screen. There's some tech company in the news. Nexacloud? Isn't that the name you mentioned before, Zoe? My stomach dropped. Nexacloud, Mom said slowly, pulling out her own phone. That does sound familiar. Jason was already reading, his face shifting from curious to confused. Wait, this says Nexacloud just acquired some company called CyberGuard for $1.2 billion. That's billion with a B. The table went completely silent. Dad's hands were shaking as he scrolled through the article. This says, This says Nexacloud is based here. Then, Grandma Betty read aloud, her voice faint. Age 31. MIT graduate. Founded Nexacloud 8 years ago. Everyone's heads snapped toward me in perfect unison. That's you, Mom. You. Yes, I said simply. Jason's face had gone pale. This article says you're the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar cybersecurity company. Says you have offices in 12 countries. It says you just acquired Google's primary security partner for over $1 billion. That's correct. Amber was scrolling frantically through her own phone. Oh my God. She's on the Forbes list. The Forbes list. One of the most influential women in technology. There are pictures of her with. Is that the Google CEO? Sundar Pichai, I confirmed. We had dinner last month to discuss the acquisition. The waiter arrived with our food, took one look at our table's shocked faces and quickly retreated. Uncle Mike cleared his throat. Zoe, you're telling us that you own this company? This multi-billion-dollar company? Yes. And you let us think you were broke, Jason said, his voice hollow. You let me offer you a job at Target for $15 an hour. You didn't offer me a job. You condescended to me about unemployment while I was in the middle of finalizing a billion-dollar acquisition. Mom's hand was pressed to her chest. But you drive a Honda. You live in a small apartment. You wear normal clothes. I drive a Honda because it's reliable and I don't care about cars. I live in a renovated loft that cost more than most people's houses because I value architecture over square footage. And I wear simple clothes because I have more important things to worry about than impressing people who've already decided I'm a failure. Dad was reading article after article, his face cycling through emotions I couldn't quite identify. This one says Nexacloud protects data for Amazon, Netflix, half the Fortune 500. Say, how is this possible? How did we not know? You never asked. Every time I tried to talk about my work, you dismissed it. 8 years ago, I told you I was starting a company. You said I was wasting my MIT degree. 6 years ago, I invited you to our Series B funding celebration. You said you were busy watching Jason's softball game. 4 years ago, I won Cybersecurity Innovator of the Year. I mentioned it at Thanksgiving and Uncle Mike changed the subject to fantasy football. Aunt Linda's eyes were shining with tears. We didn't understand. If you'd just explained. I tried to explain. Repeatedly. You didn't want to understand. It was easier to dismiss my work as internet stuff than to acknowledge that maybe, just maybe, I knew what I was doing. Jason was staring at his phone like it held the secrets of the universe. The article says the acquisition values Nexacloud at $2.3 billion. And you own 60% of the company. He looked up at me doing math in his head. That means you're worth. He couldn't even say it. Approximately $1.4 billion, I finished. Give or take, depending on stock performance. Mom made a sound like all the air had left her lungs. My phone rang. I glanced at the screen. Sundar Pichai himself. I need to take this, I said, standing up. It's the CEO of Google. I walked outside to the restaurant's patio, leaving my family in stunned silence. Zoe. Sundar's voice was warm despite the chaos. I see the news broke early. How are you handling it? I'm at family brunch. They just found out what I actually do for a living. He laughed. Oh, that must be interesting. Well, congratulations on the acquisition. The CyberGuard integration is going to revolutionize how we approach enterprise security. The board is thrilled. Thank you, Sundar. I'm looking forward to the partnership. We're hosting a celebration dinner tomorrow night in Mountain View. Small group, just the major players in the tech security space. I hope you can make it. And Zoe? Bring whoever you want. Family, friends. This is your victory. I'll be there, I said. But I think I'll be coming alone. When I returned to the table, my family was in various states of shock. Dad was reading a Wikipedia article about me. Mom was watching a CNBC interview I'd done 3 months ago about the future of cybersecurity. Jason looked like he might throw up. That was Sundar Pichai, I said calmly. He's hosting a celebration dinner tomorrow night in California. He suggested I bring family. Zoe, Dad started, his voice cracking. I don't know what to say. We had no idea that you'd accomplished everything I've been telling you about for 8 years. We would have supported you, Mom said desperately. If we'd known how successful you were. Would you have found new ways to diminish it? Oh, Zoe got lucky. Zoe's in a bubble. Zoe should still have a backup plan. I've heard those phrases my entire life, about everything I've ever done. Grandma Betty was crying openly now. We're proud of you, sweetheart. We're so proud. Are you proud of me or proud of the money? No one had an answer. Jason finally spoke, voice low. The Cancun trip loan. You must have thought I was crazy, asking a billionaire for $3,000. I thought it was sad, I said. Sad that my brother assumed I was broke when I just spent $50 million expanding our company in Asia. Aunt Linda grabbed my hand. Zoe, we were wrong. We didn't understand. But we can fix this. We're family. Family, I repeated. The same people who told me to get a real job. Who compared me to Jason. Who called me a failure because my success didn't look normal. My phone buzzed nonstop. Interviews, invitations, congratulations. And 7 missed calls from Mom. Uncle Mike cleared his throat. That thing I said about Jason's financial advisor. I see now how stupid that sounded. Pretty stupid, I said. Since Nexacloud's CFO used to work at Goldman Sachs. Jason stared at the table. I thought I was doing great. I thought I'd made it. You did, I said. The problem wasn't your success. It was everyone using your path to judge mine. Dad sighed. We failed you. Yes, I said. You did. Mom reached for me crying. Can you forgive us? We'll do better. I don't need your support, I said gently. I built Nexacloud without it. I proved myself without any of you. I opened my phone and signed the merger papers. $1.2 billion transferred. My biggest deal finished over brunch. I need to go, I said. Press conference in an hour. Interviews after that. Flight to California tomorrow. Zoe, wait, Dad said. We can make this right. Can you? The only thing that changed is that now you know I'm rich. My money matters to you. My work never did. Amber, Jason's girlfriend, was still scrolling online. There's a whole story about you. How you started in a garage. How you worked 18-hour days. How you almost went broke twice. It calls you brilliant but ruthless. Ruthless? I said. I call it focused. Nice girls who wait for approval get nowhere. So I stopped waiting. I looked at them all one last time. Jason, about that Cancun trip, I'll send you 10,000. Not because I owe you but because I can. I headed for the door. Oh, and Dad? My assistant has an assistant. But I'm sure Jason's leadership role is impressive. Grandma's voice broke behind me. She's right. We lost her. At the press conference, cameras flashed, reporters shouted. I stood at the podium. This merger marks the future of cybersecurity, I said. Together, Nexacloud and CyberGuard will protect more data and push the limits of innovation. Miss, your secret. No secret. Just hard work and not listening to people who said I couldn't. Your family didn't know about your success until today. And they just chose not to. Afterward, I sat in my office overlooking the city. My phone buzzed again. Apologies, praise, messages from family who never cared before. I turned it off. 8 years ago, I was coding in a garage. Everyone told me to get a real job. Today, that waste of time,